Hey everyone, and welcome to this deep dive. We're going to be focusing on mental well-being today.
Ooh, that's a good one.
It is. And we're going to be taking a look at this YouTube podcast script called Mind Matters, Navigating Mental Health.
Okay.
And hopefully pull out some helpful tips and stuff like that for you guys.
I like how this script starts out, framing mental health as a journey,
Yeah.
not like a destination.
Right.
I think that's a good way to think about it.
It takes the pressure off.
Yeah, totally.
Like you don't have to be perfect,
Yeah,
to be mentally healthy or whatever.
right. You're always learning and growing.
Yeah, exactly. And speaking of learning, this script talks about this thing called the overwhelm trap.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever felt that like when you're trying to improve your mental health, you just feel overwhelmed, like you don't know where to start?
All the time. Like, where do I even begin?
Right.
There's so much like, should I meditate? Should I eat better? Should I exercise more? It's
Right.
like, ah.
And you end up doing nothing.
Exactly. You just get paralyzed
Yeah.
by all the things that you could be doing.
So the script uses this great analogy. They say it's like trying to climb Mount Everest in one go.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
You can't do it right.
No,
You have to take it one step at a time.
small steps.
Yeah. And that's what the script suggests, focusing on small, consistent actions.
And there's a reason why that works, you know?
Yeah.
Have you heard of the Zeigarnik effect?
No.
So it's this idea that, like, our brains, they like to finish things.
Oh.
So when we start something small, we're more likely to, like, see it through than if we try to do something really big and overwhelming.
So even starting small
Mm-hmm.
can like create this momentum.
Exactly.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And the author of the script, actually, they share this personal story.
Okay.
They started out by just doing 5 minutes of mindfulness a day.
5 minutes.
5 minutes.
That's it.
That's it. And they said it had this huge impact on their life.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
That is really interesting.
Yeah.
Just 5 minutes.
Yeah. It's amazing how much power these small actions can have,
Yeah, and it's not just anecdotal. Like, there's actually research that backs this up.
Really.
Yeah, there have been studies that show that even small changes in your behavior can create this ripple effect.
A ripple effect.
Yeah, and like influence other areas of your life.
Oh, wow.
Like, for example, let's say you start going to bed at the same time every night.
Okay.
That can lead to improvements in your mood,
Oh, right.
your focus,
Wow.
and even your eating habits.
That's amazing.
Classy, right?
Yeah, so it's not just about the one thing you're changing. It's like it impacts everything else.
Right. It creates this positive chain reaction.
I love that.
Yeah, and it makes you wonder why we put so much pressure on ourselves to make these huge changes all at once.
Yeah, we don't have to do everything at once.
Right.
It's much more sustainable to just focus on building like one healthy habit at a time.
Yeah, and that leads us to the practical tips that are outlined in the script.
Oh, perfect.
So what's the first one? All right, so the first one is start with just one thing.
Okay.
Don't try to change your whole life overnight. Like,
Yeah.
pick one thing that you want to work on, whether it's your sleep, your diet, your exercise, whatever,
Right.
and then make small, gradual changes over time.
Okay, so don't try to do everything at once.
Exactly.
Just focus on one thing.
Yeah.
Got it. What's next?
Okay, so the next tip is to celebrate every win.
Ooh, I like this one.
Yeah, no matter how small.
Okay.
It might seem silly, but it's actually really important.
Why is that?
So when we celebrate our wins, our brains release dopamine.
Dopamine.
Yeah. Okay, it's a neurotransmitter, and it's associated with pleasure and reward.
Oh, so it makes us feel good.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
So
yeah.
when you celebrate even a small win, it reinforces that positive behavior.
So you're more likely to keep doing it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
I like that.
Me too.
So to give yourself a little pat on the back every time you make progress,
Exactly.
even if it's just a baby step.
Yes.
I love that.
It's all about positive reinforcement.
Okay, cool. And this actually ties in perfectly with the next tip,
Oh, yeah.
which is be kind to yourself.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, the script emphasizes that setbacks are a natural part of the process
For sure.
and that beating yourself up over them is only going to make things worse.
Totally.
Progress isn't linear,
Yeah.
right?
Nope.
There are going to be days when you slip up,
Absolutely.
and that's okay.
It's all part of the journey.
Yeah. The key is to treat yourself with the same compassion that you would offer a close friend.
Ooh, I like that. Oh,
All right.
Yeah.
We're often our own worst critics.
so true.
So yeah, be kind to yourself.
Yes.
Okay, so we've got start with one thing, celebrate every win, and be kind to yourself.
Those are good ones.
What's the final tip?
All right, so the last one is Remember that you don't have to go through this alone.
Oh, yeah, that's an important one.
Yeah, seeking support from others can make a world of difference.
Right, whether it's from a therapist or a friend or a support group or whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes just talking things out can really help
Oh, totally.
to put things in perspective.
Yeah, and to feel less alone.
Exactly. And it's important to remember that asking for help is not a sign of weakness.
Oh, no, definitely not.
It's a sign of strength.
It shows that you're taking your mental health seriously
Exactly.
and that you're willing to do what it takes to get better.
I love that.
Me too.
Well, this deep dive is already packed with so much great information.
Yeah, this is great.
It's amazing how much we can learn from just one podcast script.
It's a gold mine.
It is.
And we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah, there's so much more to unpack here.
I know. I'm excited to keep going.
Me too. So let's dive back in, shall we?
Let's do it.
Okay, so we've talked about the power of small steps and why they work,
Right.
but I'm curious to see how this actually plays out in real life.
Yeah, me too. Like, let's get specific.
Yeah, exactly. So let's take the example of something as basic as setting a consistent bedtime.
Okay, good one.
Now, I'll admit, this is something that I personally struggle with.
Really?
Sometimes I stay up late working or, scrolling through social media.
Oh, yeah, the scroll hole.
Yeah, and then I wonder why I'm so tired the next day.
Yeah, it's so easy to get caught up in that.
It is.
And then our sleep suffers.
It does, and it impacts everything.
It really does.
But think about what happens when you do prioritize sleep.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
imagine going to bed at a reasonable hour every night.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, how do you think that would make you feel?
Well, I imagine I'd feel more rested and have more energy throughout the day. So
Exactly.
it's like a superpower.
It is, and that's just the beginning.
Oh, there's more.
Oh, yeah. When you're well rested, your cognitive function actually improves.
No way.
Yeah, it's true.
So I'd be smarter.
Well, not necessarily smarter,
Yeah.
but you can focus better.
Okay.
You can think more clearly,
Gotcha.
and that can have a huge impact on your productivity and even your creativity.
Wow. So better sleep doesn't just affect my energy levels, it also affects how well I can think and work. That's amazing.
It's crazy, right?
It is. I never thought about it like that.
Have you ever noticed that when you're tired, you're more likely to reach for sugary snacks or comfort foods?
Oh my gosh, all the time.
Right.
Like when I'm exhausted, my willpower just goes out the window.
It's like your brain is craving energy,
Yeah.
and it wants it in the fastest way possible.
Makes sense?
So you reach for the sugar,
The quick fix.
but it turns out that sleep deprivation can actually mess with your hormones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, particularly the ones that regulate hunger and satiety.
Interesting.
So when you're sleep deprived, you might find yourself craving unhealthy foods
Oh,
and
wow.
overeating.
So it's not just about willpower. It's like my body is actually working against me when
Yeah.
I'm sleep deprived.
It's pretty crazy, right?
It is. I never realized there was such a strong connection between sleep and my eating habits.
It's amazing how interconnected everything is.
It really is.
And here's another thought.
Mm-hmm.
When you're feeling rested and energized, you're more likely to feel motivated to exercise.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Like-
When I'm tired, the last thing I want to do is hit the gym.
Yeah, exactly.
But when I've had a good night's sleep, I'm like, let's go.
Right. It's like you have more energy to spare.
Totally.
So you can see how this one small step, setting a consistent bedtime, can have this cascading effect on other areas of your life.
It's like a domino effect.
Yeah. Better sleep leads to improved focus, which can then lead to healthier eating habits and even increased physical activity.
Who knew that something as simple as getting enough sleep could be so transformative?
It's pretty amazing.
It is, and it all goes back to the power of small steps.
Right.
We don't need to overhaul our entire lives overnight.
Yeah.
Sometimes the smallest changes can make the biggest difference.
It's so encouraging to hear that.
It is.
It takes the pressure off needing to be perfect
Yeah.
and instead focuses on making gradual improvements over time.
I love that.
Me too. And it brings us back to the core message of this deep dive.
What's that?
You have the power to create positive change in your life,
Okay.
one small step at a time.
I like that.
Yeah. And the beauty of this approach is that it's accessible to everyone.
That's true.
No matter where you are on your mental health journey,
Right.
you can always find a small step to take,
Absolutely.
whether it's setting a consistent bedtime
Okay.
or committing to 5 minutes of mindfulness each day
Yeah.
or reaching out to a friend for support.
I like that one.
There's always something we can do
Yeah.
to nurture our well-being,
And it doesn't have to be this big, grand gesture.
right?
It can be something small and simple.
Exactly. And remember, it's not about being perfect.
Okay.
It's about progress.
Progress, not perfection.
Exactly.
I love that.
Me too. And setbacks are inevitable.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But the important thing is to keep moving forward.
Okay.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. I like that.
Yeah. So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
let's turn the focus to you, the listener. What stood out to you the most from what we've talked about so far?
Yeah, and more importantly,
Yeah.
what's one small step you can commit to taking today to prioritize your mental health?
Yeah, it could be anything.
Right.
Maybe you want to try a new relaxation technique.
Ooh, that sounds nice.
Right.
Yeah.
Or start a gratitude journal.
I've heard those are good.
Yeah.
Right.
Or maybe just spend a few minutes each day connecting with nature.
Yeah.
Being outside.
Yeah.
That always helps.
It does. The possibilities are endless.
They really are.
And remember, even the smallest actions can have this ripple effect,
Right.
creating positive change in ways you might not expect.
I love that.
Me too. This deep dive has been so insightful so far.
It has.
I'm feeling inspired and motivated to put these principles into practice in my own life.
Me too.
And remember, the source also emphasizes that mental health is something that we need to talk about more openly.
Oh,
It's so important to break down the stigma surrounding mental health.
Yeah. We need to normalize these conversations. Exactly.
Yeah.
So what can we do to contribute to that conversation?
Well, it could be something as simple as sharing this deep dive with a friend who might benefit from it.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Right.
Yeah.
Or maybe checking in with a loved one who's been going through a tough time.
Yeah, those are great ideas.
Just small gestures.
Yeah, even small gestures can make a big difference.
Totally.
In creating a more supportive and understanding environment.
Exactly. And you never know, just one conversation could be a turning point for someone.
It's true. We often underestimate the power of simply listening and showing that we care.
Yeah, sometimes that's all it takes.
Right. So to wrap things up, let's go back to the core message of this deep dive.
Okay.
Small steps can lead to big changes in your mental well-being.
I love that message.
Me too. It's so empowering.
It is.
It reminds us that we don't have to wait for the perfect moment or have all the answers.
Right.
We can start taking care of our mental health today.
Yes.
One tiny step at a time.
One tiny step at a time. I love it.
And remember, be kind to yourself throughout the process.
Oh, yeah, that's important.
Celebrate your wins, no matter how small.
Yes.
And don't hesitate to reach out for support when you need it.
Great advice.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of small steps and mental well-being.
Thanks for having me.
We hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as we did.
Me too. I hope it was helpful.
And until next time, take care and keep taking those small steps toward a happier, healthier you.
Yes, one step at a time.
Okay, so we've talked about the power of small steps
Yeah?
and why they work,
Right.
but I kind of want to see how this plays out in real life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, like let's get practical.
Exactly. So let's take the example of something
Okay.
as simple as setting a consistent bedtime.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
like going to bed at the same time every night.
Sure.
Now, I'll admit this is something I struggle with.
Oh, really?
Yeah, sometimes I'll stay up late working or scrolling through social media.
Oh, yeah, the scroll hole gets me every time.
It's so easy to get sucked in.
It is, and then you look at the clock and it's like 2 in the morning.
Oh, yeah. And then I wonder why I'm so tired the next day.
Right. It's like, what did I do to myself?
I know, but imagine, like, what if you did prioritize sleep?
Okay.
Like, what if you went to bed at a reasonable hour every night?
Well, I imagine I'd feel a lot more rested.
Right.
Yeah, and I'd probably have more energy throughout the day.
Exactly. And that's just the tip of the iceberg.
Oh, there's more.
Yeah, when you're well rested, your cognitive function actually improves.
Wow. So I'd be like a super genius.
Well, not exactly a super genius,
Right.
but your focus would improve.
Okay.
You could think more clearly,
Gotcha.
and that can have a big impact on your productivity at work and even your creativity.
Wow. So it's not just about feeling less tired. It's like it actually makes me better at stuff.
Exactly.
Huh. I never thought about it like that.
And have you ever noticed that when you're tired, you're more likely to crave sugary snacks or comfort foods?
Oh my gosh, all the time. Like when I'm exhausted, my willpower just goes right out the window.
Yeah, it's like your brain is just screaming for energy.
Yeah. And it wants it now.
And it wants it fast.
So I reach for the donuts.
The quickest fix.
Exactly.
But it turns out that sleep deprivation can actually mess with your hormones.
Oh, really?
Yeah, particularly the ones that regulate hunger and satiety.
Oh, interesting.
So when you're sleep deprived,
Yeah.
you might find yourself craving unhealthy foods and overeating.
Wow. So it's not just a lack of willpower. It's like my body is actually working against me
It is.
when I don't get enough sleep.
Crazy, right?
It is. I never realized there was such a strong connection between sleep and my eating habits.
It's amazing how interconnected everything is.
It really is.
And here's another thing.
Okay.
When you're feeling rested and energized,
Yeah.
you're way more likely to feel motivated to exercise.
Oh, for sure.
Right.
Like when I'm tired, the last thing I want to do is go to the gym.
Yeah. Who wants to work out when they're exhausted?
But when I've had a good night's sleep, it's like, bring on the burpees.
You have all that extra energy.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can see how this one small step,
Okay.
setting a consistent bedtime, can have this huge ripple effect.
A ripple effect.
Yeah, on other areas of your life.
Oh, wow.
Better sleep leads to improved focus.
Right.
Which can then lead to healthier eating habits.
Yeah.
And even increased physical activity.
So basically, getting enough sleep can change my whole life.
It can be pretty transformative.
That's incredible. And it all comes back to this idea of small steps.
It does.
We don't need to change everything at once.
Yeah.
Sometimes just making one small change can make a huge difference.
It's pretty amazing.
It is. It takes the pressure off.
It does.
Like, I don't have to be perfect. I just have to keep making progress.
One step at a time.
I like that.
Yeah, it's like we don't have to wait for the perfect moment to start taking care of ourselves.
Right. And we don't have to have all the answers either. We can just start.
Yeah, and like what are some small things people can do?
Yeah, like what are some examples?
To contribute to this conversation about mental health.
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah.
Well, it could be as simple as like sharing this deep dive with a friend
Okay,
who you think might benefit from it.
Right, or just like checking in on a loved one.
Yeah.
Who's maybe going through a tough time.
Exactly, just acknowledging that they're struggling.
Yeah, those are great ideas.
Yeah, just small gestures.
Even small gestures can make a big difference.
Totally.
In creating a more supportive and understanding environment.
For sure, and you never know.
Yeah.
Just one conversation.
Yeah.
Could be a turning point for someone.
That's true. We often underestimate the power of just listening.
Totally.
And showing that we care.
Sometimes that's all it takes.
So to wrap things up, let's go back to the core message of this deep dive.
Okay.
Small steps can lead to big changes in your mental well-being.
Absolutely.
It's such an empowering message.
It really is.
It's like a reminder.
Yeah.
We don't have to wait for the perfect moment.
Right.
Or have all the answers.
Yeah, just start.
We can start taking care of our mental health today.
Yes.
One tiny step at a time.
I love that.
And remember,
be
kind to yourself.
Yeah.
Throughout the process.
Be kind to yourself.
Celebrate your wins.
Yes.
No matter how small.
Love it.
And don't hesitate to reach out for support when you need it.
Good advice.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of small steps and mental well-being.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's been fun.
We hope you found it as insightful and inspiring as we did.
I hope you guys got something out of it.
And until next time, take care and keep taking those small steps towards a happier, healthier you.
One step at a time.